Welcome back to Nate's Supercoach for 2024. In this video, we're going to look at some point of difference plays that you could consider bringing into your team, or at least upgrading as the season goes, because spoiler alert, 99% of the Supercoach teams are going to be pretty much the same. And where's the fun in that? Okay, so you want a point of difference to help separate you from the other Supercoaches. If you're new to the channel, please hit like and subscribe. I've got more content coming out. Round zero is not far away. Community games are underway. Intra-clubs are all happening. There's a lot going on. Injury news, etc. So like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates as well. I'll be posting some shorts soon for any kind of breaking news as well. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that stuff. All right, let's get started. So in the defenders, let's have a look at some pods, some point of difference players that you could consider. Okay, Daniel Rioli, 485,000. He's a defender. Right, so there's a talk of a new role for him under Adamuze. Okay, Adamuze has come out and told Daniel Rioli, I want you to play this role. And Rioli's then spread that to reporters. There was a paper article about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now. Could get some midfield time with this new role. Under 500,000. We like that. Things are sounding good. Pro, cheap, new role touted in pre-season. And it's been spoken about publicly. So they obviously rate him quite highly. Otherwise, why would you give him the role? Potential to get DPP, dual position status, which means you could take Rioli into your midfield if you wanted. When you get defender mid, you can keep him in your defence. It's up to you. But having that flexibility helps. Con, is there too many going through the midfield at Richmond? Not sure. You've got Dusty, Shai Bolton, Taranto. Don't know why he's fallen out of favour. Rioli potentially now, and Jaden Short. Maybe. We'll see. But I think if he's touted very highly in the pre-season, he's one to certainly look at. Okay, the next one. Jake Lloyd, the Seagull, 535,000. If you haven't seen the Defenders video, hit the Nate's Supercoach icon down the bottom. Click on that. You'll go to my latest video. Click the top 8 Defenders video. Jake Lloyd's in that one. Spoiler alert. Alright, so nickname of the Seagull, years of Supercoach history, he's a proven pick. For years, my D1, 2 and 3 were Laird, Doherty and Jake Lloyd. That shows you how much highly rated he was as a Supercoach pick. I think he can return to his previous role. He's definitely one to consider. And at 535, he's definitely discounted on what he can provide. Too many people with their hands on the pie in the back six in Sydney. Maybe. We'll have to have a look at Sydney. But I think Jake Lloyd could be one to pick up as the season goes on, depending on his role. All right, defenders. Jordan Ridley. Here's another one. Okay, so this has been recorded the night, Friday night. I went to the RSCA Park today to see the Saints and the Bombers for their community game or match simulation drill game, whatever they call it now. So Ridley didn't play. He was injured, which raises some flags for me to begin with. But 530,000, not a bad price. If he can return to his previous role as that interceptor across half-back, then I think you have to strongly consider him as a really good point of difference. The pro for him, he's a proven scorer in that role. He's done it before. With the arrival of Ben Mackay now and with Zach Reed developing, there's the potential they will take the lockdown and he will play that interceptor role, which is what we want. Again, the other con, too many with the hands in the pie in the back six of the Bombers. And our setup, we just don't know how we're set up. Like, for example, today we had Redmond, McGrath, Nick Martin, and I think it was Reed took a kick in. So it's like, well, who's taking the kick-ins? It could be all three of them. Okay, well, that takes Ridley's points away from kick-ins. Does he get back to that defender intercept role? Hopefully. That's what we can say. If he does, then he's certainly one to look at. If he doesn't, I'll be looking elsewhere. Okay, so let's look into the midfield now. So from one Bomber to another. All right, Zach Merritt, 650,000. Saw him today. Didn't do a lot, if I'm brutally honest. I don't know whether he was injured, but at half-time he had the training vest on and was sort of running straight line, so I was like, oh, he's done a hamstring here or something. Haven't heard anything, nothing's been said. May something pop up tomorrow? Maybe, but hopefully he plays the game against Geelong on Friday, and then we'll get a bit more of an idea. 650 is probably a bit expensive to start. I think I'm going to look to pick him up cheaper. So here we go. He's 99% certain to be our number one midfielder this year. Maybe Parrish or Setterfield may take over, maybe, scoring points, but I don't think so. He's our captain, he's super competitive, he's consistent, he's professional, does all the right things, lives the lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. Pro, proven scorer in the role. I've had him in my team before. The biggest con, though, is with Essendon, is if we can string some decent games together, that'd be a good start. But also, we've got a lot of guys that can run through our middle, and we don't know what our midfield looks like, our ideal midfield. So the likes of Parrish, Setterfield, Shield, Perkins, Hobbs, Caldwell, Sardis, Stringer, they can all go through the midfield, so they take points off each other. We don't have our midfield set just yet. So that's probably the only con for Merritt. I don't think many people will take points off him. He's that professional and he just racks up the possessions. You can always float loose as well, but something to be aware of. So 650, I wouldn't start him, but I'd look to bring him in halfway through the season. That's what I'm going to be doing myself. Jack Steele, pro, tackling pressure. He's a value pick, 525,000. He's that inside mid player, which Supercoach scoring system loves. The only con I can see is there was rumblings. I don't know for sure. I have no inside information. If you're a St Kilda supporter, let me know in the comments. There was a little bit of a rumour going around that the Rossi factor, whether he was played in the right position, whether he backs Steele in to do that role, not sure. Again, I've got no idea of what's going on at St Kilda, but they're obviously putting together a pretty decent side from looking at them today, though they didn't look out of first gear and they just destroyed Essendon, so should be a good season. But yeah, I think if Jack Steele's back to that role, I think he's definitely a good guy to pick up, 525,000. Very good point of difference. All right, so we have Carl Amon. Now, value at 483,000, absolutely. There's injury disasters all over the place at Hawthorn in the back six. Okay, Jath's out, Blank's out, Will Day's out. So I think that opens up James Sicily to go back as the lockdown. So then we need more of a running player, which is where I think Amon comes in. I don't think Amon is going to get... I think he's going to get some midfield time, but he's going to play that sort of sweeping role too. So the combination of that, he'll definitely get dual PP, dual position status in round 6. New role touted, so Sam Mitchell obviously rates him quite highly. I can't see a con on him, to be honest. So I think he could be a very, very good point of difference. And he's one I'm certainly looking at, as well as Massimo D'Ambrosio for a rookie price player. Same thing. Back 6, how is he going to line up at Hawthorn? Who knows? So he could find himself in the back 6, and if he's a cheap pick, why not? Okay, so the next one, Tom Green. So 621,000. Not hearing a lot of people talking about Tom Green, to be honest, but average is there. He's an inside bull. Maybe slightly overpriced is the only con I can think of. But if he's backing up that average, probably worth it, I'd say. Kingsley's got him playing a very attacking style. They're going to want to put the ball in his hands so he can kick it long to Toby Green and that sort of thing. So I would back Tom Green in. I think he's ready for a really, really, really strong Supercoach season. I don't know whether I'll start him, but he's certainly one I'm looking at to bring in as soon as possible as a point of difference. But I think most people will have him towards the end of the season. So he's kind of a pod now. So get him now, and don't be surprised if his ownership percentage is through the roof by round 6 or 7. All right, so Caleb Sarong, same thing. Again, another point of difference. Pretty good average, favourable buy situation, Freo and Port. So if you're wanting to look at it that way, that puts him up the tier slightly. Maybe he's slightly overpriced, 621. Brayshaw, Young stealing his points. I think that's probably the case. So I'd probably only start one of them, Brayshaw, Sarong and Young. You could probably get away with 2, but Young seems like he's going to have that midfield role now, and he's a defender as well. So again, one to look at. Ollie Wines. Okay, so this is one of these situations where I look for data, and if I see something that makes me go, oh, hang on, stop, I need to change my thinking on this one, then I'll do that. And this is the case. So if you've seen my Lock Watch or Avoid, so Lock Watch Pass video, rather, for Port in the preseason about a week or 2 ago, I put that video up. I had Ollie Wines in the pass category because at that time, I didn't have the data that Ken Hinkley has said. Okay, so Ken Hinkley has come out and said, quote, he's going to be an inside midfielder. So when the coach comes out and says he's going to do this, it's like, oh, okay, there's something to this. So, Supercoach scoring system loves inside midfielders. Ollie Wines has been there for years. He's a real point of difference. I don't know what his ownership percentage is. It's not going to be much. Favourable buy, 463. He's cheap. The only issue would be his durability. And can he consistently put a full season together as an inside midfielder at his age? We shall see. I think on Hinkley said himself that Ollie Wines himself had said that, yeah, I wasn't where I needed to be physically. So that was probably the reason for his regression in averages. He is one I'm looking at now that Ken Hinkley said he's an inside mid, because if I pick up Wines at 463, means I can put a little bit more money and shuffle things around. Might not be a bad move at 463. If you can keep up those numbers, you're not going to make a lot of money from him. You're not going to probably want to sell him if he's putting those scores together. But if you can pick him up at 463, I think it's a very, very good move indeed. Okay, so in the rucks, let's have a look. Rowan Marshall, 639. Saw him today for St Kilda, did some nice things. He's very much a point of difference because I think most are going to go Gawn and Grundy. He's the number 1 ruck at St Kilda. High ceiling. Cons on him, his durability. He's quite injury prone. And I think there are more value picks cheaper. I think that Gawn and Grundy are going to average the same, if not more, than Rowan Marshall. And in Grundy's case, it's 150,000 less to grab him. Same with Gawn's, about 50,000 less. So that's what I'd be doing. But if you wanted to spend a bit more coin on a genuine point of difference, then I think Rowan Marshall's a very good selection. And the second one here, Sean Darcy, okay, 589,000. Again, similar to Marshall, most people probably go Gawn and Grundy or Gawn and English, somewhere of that combination. So he's a very good point of difference, very good ceiling. Durability is another issue with him. And sharing duties with Jackson. So when Jackson's out of the team, Darcy plays well. When Jackson and Darcy are in the team, Jackson doesn't play well. When Darcy's out of the team, Jackson plays well. So it's one of those things where we have to wait and see. For $1,000 less, I would just go Max Gawn. You know he's the number one ruck. No one's going to try and take his spot. He's arguably going to score more than Darcy most games. But if you want a good point of difference, again, this is what this video is about, then Darcy is a good selection for you if you want to go against the grain. Right, let's get to the forwards. Right, so Isaac Heaney, 483,000. Very low ownership. Can't really understand why this season in particular, considering we don't have much to choose from at all. Pretty good ceiling. He's a good ball user. Not super coach, but on field he has a mid-forward role. Maybe the balance is more towards the forward line. That's why he's not getting as much points, and he's not being touted as a must-pick con. Too many points to go around is probably another thing. You got likes of Goulden, Warner, Papley floating around. You got Taylor Adams in there too now this year. He's a bit injury prone too. He has been known to get sort of ankles and calves and that kind of thing. Those sort of soft tissue issues. Well, not really ankles, soft tissue, but calves, and he gets a couple of hammies as well, and then does an ankle and he's out for a few weeks. Still gets to put together a pretty good average. But very good pot, I think. I'm looking at Isaac Heaney, especially with this year with the forwards we have to choose from. And the last one, Tex Walker, 500,000. Pro. He's proven he can go on a good run of games. That's what we need as a key position forward. If we're picking him in Supercoach, they need to be scoring consistently, week in, week out, week in, week out. Can Tex Walker do that? Becomes a case of how likely is Tex Walker to put together a string of 9 games where he scores 4 goals or more every game. Probably unlikely to sort of neutral, somewhere in there. He's done it before. Can he do it again? Maybe. But on the balance of probabilities, I'd say he probably won't. How many weeks can he put together some great scores is the only real con on him. So, again, this would be a very brave move, I think. However, in 2024, with the season we've got coming up in terms of the forwards, it could very well pay off. You could really put yourself in a very good spot early on and then just trade him to another forward potentially. That's who I consider to be points of difference for your teams. Okay, so if you're looking to separate yourself from the herd, here's a list of players on this video. If you missed everyone, go back to the start and have a look through. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Got more content coming out before round 0. Talk soon.